everyone, and welcome to Proline, the longest running sports handicapping show in America. I'm John Cranton in Las Vegas, joined by Jeff Sod. He's been running Las Vegas Sports Services for 14 years, plus world champion handicapper Jim Feist. It's Game 7 weekend, guys. We're going to take a look at all three of the Saturday NBA matchups for Game 7, give you some betting trends, look at totals, as well as best bets. But first, we have to talk about winning, something that Donald Sterling hasn't been used to in his career as an NBA owner. We'll start with you, Jim, a 22-10 NBA playoff run. You've been sizzling with these NBA totals. You hit a plus 165 NHL winner last night as the Montreal-Boston series opened, and you got a special for the rest of May for everyone.
Well, absolutely, John. Thank you for mentioning that. It's been a great month of April, and we're going to make May the same way. You can get all of May's plays for $31. That's NBA, baseball, hockey. I opened with the Montreal-Boston series with a winner there, plus 165, as you mentioned. You'll get it all, baseball, hockey, NBA, the rest of May, $31. That's 31 small dollars, not 3,100, but 31 small dollars, 1-866-841-1655. That's 1-866-841-1655.
All right, and Mr. Vegas has a special for the month of May. Get NBA and baseball for $19. Just call 1-866-896-1627. Jeff, you've had a terrific run in baseball and hoops. Going back to 2011, you've got a 111-80 run, and then your best bets in baseball, a current 18-8 run. How can folks get aboard LVSS with a special?
Yeah, last year I entered the playoffs on a 17-5 run, including 6-0 the last 6 games of the finals. I'm going to give you the rest of May baseball and NBA playoffs for only $29. When you sign up, you're going to get a special high roller consensus release for it's a $100 value. You're going to get that as a bonus. Call LVSS at 1-866-575-8916. That's the rest of May. Baseball and NBA playoffs, just $29. A special consensus play as a bonus, free. Call 1-866-575-8916.
All right, make sure you take advantage. If you want to win, these Vegas pros have been doing it for decades. All right, guys, let's start with a Saturday game. We got the Indiana Pacers and the Atlanta Hawks playing in Game 7. -6 currently on the Pacers, total of 186. The number 8 Hawks, they've already won twice here, 2-1 in the playoffs. And that's amazing because the wacky Pacers went 35-6 at home during the regular season. That was the best home mark in the NBA, but we haven't seen it at all with the Hawks winning here, playing well here in Indiana. It's been a very perplexing Indiana team for a couple of months now. You look back at Game 5, which was the last one that took place here. Atlanta won 101-93. But, Jim, the Hawks could not close it out at home. On the other hand, can you trust an Indiana team on a 16-34-1 spread run?
You know, this is the head case game of the year. These two teams, they're totally basket cases. The Hawks, in Game 4 and Game 6, they had leads going down the stretch, and in each game, they gave up 8 or 9 consecutive points to the Pacers. And it wasn't really because, I mean, the Pacers stepped up their defense. There's no question about that. But the Hawks didn't take care of the ball. They didn't run plays. They went one-on-one, threw up bad shots. This is a team that's capable, probably more capable than they even believe they are. I don't think they're ready to win. The difference, though, is this has been a series that's very competitive. The road teams have done well. No team has won back-to-back games. Now, here's Indiana. They're going to be 6 point. They are a 6-point favorite in this game. Now, Paul George came out onto the floor when there was a scuffle. That's supposed to be an automatic 1-game suspension. If he's suspended for Indiana, an already dysfunctional team then loses their best player because Roy Hibbert is definitely not their best player. He's a non-existent player. But if Paul George is suspended, and we don't know that right now. So right now, at this point, I would tell everybody, if they're listening to this before the announcement, go out and bet Atlanta. Because if he's suspended, the line's only going to go lower. So take a lead on it. Atlanta is not ready to win because their mental state isn't ready to win. They haven't been there enough times and failed enough times to know how to get over the hump. That's what I see with them. that doesn't mean they can't win, because the Pacers, sometimes they just screw up a lot, and they've screwed up quite a bit at home this year in this series. So anything can happen. I probably think the Pacers are going to win the game if Paul George plays, but it's a toss-up if he doesn't.
Well, Indiana did come back and win that game at Atlanta, 95-88. They didn't play very well offensively, only shooting 43%. That's been a problem all year. They did play some very stellar defense, allowing 35.5% shooting. The Hawks helped out by going just 9 of 35 from long range. Atlanta had actually done exceptionally well from long range this series, but kind of garbaged out in that one. And Jeff, the comment that I liked from David West after the game of Indiana, he said, hey, we tried different lineups. The coach rolled the dice. Well, that's a nice way of saying we benched this bum Roy Hibbert. I mean, they didn't bench him completely. He did see some time, but they've been phasing this guy out of the lineup. So I'm not sure what has happened to him or whether Indiana's going to be focused or not. How do you see it?
Well, this team's been a puzzle since the second half, since the All-Star break. I know the defense hasn't been as good as it used to be, and as we said in past shows, they don't have an offense to fall back on to make up for it, and that's just what's happened here. They wouldn't have won last night if it weren't for David West making several clutch plays on the last few minutes. The Hawks only shot 36% last night, and they still almost won the game. And the Hawks were 9 of 35 from the three-point line, 26%, still almost won the game. So the Pacers, I don't know what you can say about this team. They just the first half of the season looked like they could play in the NBA Finals. Now they look like one of the worst teams ever to finish with the best record in the conference. It's hard to go against a home team at Game 7. Since 1982, home teams in Game 7, the NBA playoffs are 38, 25, and 2, 60% against the spread. Straight up 54 and 11, 83%. But then again, right now, as we're doing the show, there are so many unknown factors here. Indiana is a 6-point favorite. It's hard to lay points with a team that shoots this badly. But then again, to go against a home team in a Game 7, especially when the Pacers have shown that when their back's against the wall, they can win. So right now, it's just at this moment, it's just too hard to pick a side in this game, John, and we'll have to wait and see what happens here.
Yeah, like everybody, I've been trying to figure out what is going on with this Indiana team. The one parallel that I could draw as a team that I followed closely was the 1983 Celtics. Very talented team. They won the title 2 years earlier. Yet the second half of that season, they just stumbled. They got blown out by bad teams. They had losing streaks. It was a baffling, talented team playing bad. Well, when the playoffs came, they got swept despite home court by the Milwaukee Bucks. Right after that happened, the coach resigned and the players admitted what was going on. We just were not a happy, cohesive, together group. Larry Bird, years later, he just shook his head and said, it was just a bad year. He didn't blame the coach like a lot of the other players did, saying we tuned out the coach. Bird just said we just weren't together. And I suspect that when this Indiana team gets knocked out of the playoffs, either this weekend or within a week or so, I think we're going to find some of the details like that are going on with some of the unhappy things and the lack of cohesion with this group. But anyway, as of now, they're still alive for Game 7. A couple of spread trends to keep in mind. When the Atlanta Hawks lose a game, they're 5-0 against the spread the next game. They're also 6-1 ATS on the road. And the Indiana Pacers at home, 3-11 spread run. So be careful about backing the Pacers.